Hello everybody, I'm Mark Goldbridge from That's Football, and we are talking about Jose Mourinho's angry reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's comments post a very, very disappointing result for Spurs. A very great result for Manchester United, if that even is a saying, a very great result. But look, I mean, I've done this video before. Mourinho's finished. I've said it for so many times. I don't really want it to be the case. I think he's box office, but maybe Serie A. Maybe Serie A would suit him. I mean, that league is a slower tempo. It still is about good defence, but not the Premier League. Mourinho is not suitable to the Premier League anymore, and I feel he's getting to that point a little bit like Arsenal, really, where, look, they're great institutions. Mourinho's a great manager. Arsenal's a great club, but it's becoming beyond... You know, when something's getting beaten, it's like that meme, isn't it, from The Simpsons, stop, they're already dead. And it's like, it's not funny to laugh at them anymore because it's becoming quite sad. I mean, I watched that game, obviously, on the United stand, 3-1. Manchester United dominated Spurs in the second half. It should have been 1-1 anyway. The goal should not have been disallowed for Cavani. Second half, 1-0 up Spurs, and United win 3-1. Spurs have had a week off. United have had 2.5 days off. And yet we dominate them for energy. Those players ain't playing for that badge, and therefore they're not playing for that manager. And this has happened 3 times at 3 big Premier League clubs. Chelsea got rid of him because he lost the dressing room. Manchester United got rid of him because he lost the dressing room. And Spurs are going to go the same way. And the running theme between all those 3 things at the end is that football wasn't good enough. And more importantly, the most important thing, I think, is that running through all 3 ends is this excuse that Mourinho comes out with, that he's always come out with. If something goes well, it's because of him. If something goes wrong, it's not because of him. And to come out after the game and angrily react with 2 absolute clangers that Paul Pogba should have been sent off, I don't even know what he's talking about. I mean, it was that contentious. I don't even know what he's talking about. An elbow on Aurier. I don't remember anything. I don't remember any replay or anything. So, I mean, it was that important that nobody's even noticed it. So, and then the second thing is to come out and angrily react to what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said after the game that when Son went down, if it was his son, he wouldn't feed him, basically. It's an analogy. I mean, you don't need to phone Childline, Jose. And to start going on about Son's father and Son's father's a better human being than Ole, it just comes across as sour grapes. Like, football is full of analogies. I do it all the time. Managers have done it for years. It's just Ole Gunnar Solskjaer talking about Son diving, which he probably did or he probably didn't. But ultimately, it's about the referee. If Son wants to play the game, the referee shouldn't fall for it anyway. So maybe Ole shouldn't have gone that far in on it. But the point remains, the referee made the mistake. And I think Mourinho making it about that, does it just detract from the fact that you've lost another game? I don't know how Spurs got back into a top 4 race. I really don't know how they're back in a top 4 race. But they're out of it again. They've lost so many games. I mean, I don't watch Spurs that much, but I've seen them a lot of times this season where they've been 1-0 up and then they end up losing or they end up drawing. And with Man United at 1-0, you just thought, will Ole go for it, knowing that Mourinho's going to sit back? And he did. And Ole won. And Mourinho lost. And Spurs are very predictable. And Spurs players should be ashamed of themselves. Again, they got knocked out of Europa League a couple of weeks ago. They were poor. Today, they were poor again. They're not playing for that manager. Harry Kane's, getting itchy feet. Those players are not playing for that manager. They're not playing for that badge. And I don't see how Mourinho turns it around. Will he be here next season? I don't know. But I don't see how he turns that around because, unfortunately, and I think Spurs, unless you're an Arsenal fan or maybe a Chelsea fan, I think Spurs are perceived by most people as being an inoffensive club. You know, that nobody really has many problems with Spurs. So it's sad to see that football club is in a situation where they'll probably stick with Mourinho for another year. But the damage is there. You can see the cracks and they're getting bigger. There was absolutely nothing in that performance second half for Mourinho that made me think he's trying to prevent the inevitable. They were walking into the trap of United's high tempo and they just got overwhelmed tactically and energy-wise. And as I said, they've got a week off. But where's Mourinho's response? Get a goal and try and control it. And this is something... It's Jurassic Park football. I used to say this when he was at United. It's Jurassic Park football. You cannot do that in the modern game. Brighton will beat you, and I think they already did. Like, Brighton will play expansive football. You've got no chance of doing anything in the Premier League by nicking a goal and then trying to defend it. And Mourinho doesn't seem to want to move past that. Fantastic manager. Fantastic career. One of the greatest managers that we've had. But is his greatness based on his stubbornness and total obsession that when things go well, it's down to him, and when things go badly, it's not his fault. And this stubbornness that he knows better than everybody else. I saw a comment from him the other day. It was something along the lines of, people criticising me. Well, what do they know? Then I've won things they don't know, and that's the arrogance of the man. It's like, fans can't criticise you because they haven't won a Champions League. I'm sorry, mate. You got sacked at Chelsea. You deserve to. You got sacked at Manchester United. You deserve to. And at Spurs, you deserve the criticism from the Spurs fans. So I think for Mourinho, I've said it for a while. I said when he got sacked by United, he's done in the Premier League. I was surprised he came back to Spurs. I was actually, because he's box office and because he's interesting, I was always like, you know what? This would be a great Renaissance story if he can prove everyone wrong. He hasn't. And I think for Mourinho, he wants to be involved in football. It's his thing. He's obsessed with it. Maybe international football, maybe Serie A, but not the Premier League. And, there will be people who criticise him in the press. And Mourinho will see that press. And he will use it as a reason to I'll prove people wrong. I just don't think he can. Unless he absolutely changes this obsession around defence. Because football and defence at the moment, thankfully, they don't go hand in hand. Football and attack is the way to go. And we've seen that with Liverpool, and we've seen it with Bayern Munich, and we've seen it with Manchester City. Man City are brilliant at the back, but they're also brilliant going forward. And that's the sad thing for Mourinho. Like, he can look at his great rival Pep Guardiola, and he can't rival, and he never could rival Pep Guardiola for entertaining attacking football. But he's now getting sat down by Pep Guardiola for defence, because Manchester City's defence has been superb this season. It's far more organised. It's far less leaky than Mourinho, who is apparently the specialist defensive coach. So, look, Mourinho coming out with the excuses tonight, you'd expect that. It's what he does. I think he's clutching at straws for red cards for Pogba. He's clutching at straws, trying to have a go at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and take it away from football and start making it about matters like who somebody's dad is and everything like that. Not for 1 minute do I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was meaning anything other than, it's if that was my son, I wouldn't feed him. It's just like saying if that lad played for me, I wouldn't let him in the dressing room. It's like you'd have been better off saying if Son played for Manchester United and he did that, he'd be walking back to Manchester. Because I think that's what Ole was saying. He's cheated in Ole's mind, and it's not good. It's nothing to claim childline about Jose. It's deflective tactics, and more fool Spurs fans if they fall for it, because your season has been abysmal. I predicted Spurs would finish above Manchester United. I think your squad is fantastic. I think the signings you made were better than ours. I think you've got Harry Kane in your team. He's superb. And I think you've massively underachieved. You're not even in the Europa League quarterfinals. You're not even in a race for top four anymore. It's Carabao Cup or nothing. And I don't see how you are going to get anything out of Man City. I hope you do. I really hope you do. But I can't see it. And it's almost like Carabao Cup or nothing. And Spurs will celebrate the Carabao Cup like it's the World Cup because they don't win many trophies. But really, it would be papering the biggest crack, which is the crap that Spurs are dishing up this season. And I think he's lost the dressing room, and I think he's deflecting. Get your comments in below, smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you soon. And make sure you subscribe.